The true story of Daniel LaPlante. Let me take you back to 1986, to a quiet suburb in Townsend, Massachusetts, where a seemingly ordinary teenage girl named Tina Bowen lived with her father and sister. Life was simple until the whispers started. It all started with a phone call. Tina was 15 when the phone rang one evening. A boy named Daniel LaPlante introduced himself. He claimed he got her number from a friend at school. His voice was friendly, even charming. He said he liked the sound of her laugh. At first, Tina was flattered. He seemed nice, and they chatted for a while. Eventually, he asked her out. When they finally met in person, Tina felt uneasy. Daniel wasn't the person she had imagined. He was unkempt, greasy hair, ragged clothes, awkward mannerisms. Something about him just felt off. The date was brief, uncomfortable. Tina knew she didn't want to see him again. She had no idea that turning him down would spark a nightmare. Something was wrong in the house. It started subtly. The television would turn on by itself. Silverware would go missing. Doors creaked open when no one was near. Tina and her younger sister, Jennifer, believed their house might be haunted. After all, their mother had passed away recently. Could her spirit be trying to communicate? One night, the sisters decided to hold a séance in their bedroom. Just two girls, candles lit, calling out to the unknown. Harmless, right? That's when things took a terrifying turn. Messages from the walls. A few days after the séance, Tina came home to find something that made her blood run cold. Scrawled across her bedroom wall in what appeared to be blood were the words, "I'm in your room. Come find me," she screamed. More messages followed. "I'm watching you. Leave now." The writing appeared in different rooms. Sometimes it was red, other times black, always messy, as if written in a frenzy. Their father, Frank, thought it was a prank. He scolded the girls, accusing them of playing games. But they weren't laughing. They were terrified. And deep down, I think Frank knew something was terribly wrong. The horrifying truth. The breaking point came on a cold winter evening. Frank returned home from work to find a nightmare waiting. He stepped into Tina's room, and there stood Daniel LaPlante. He was dressed in the clothes of Frank's deceased wife. His face was smeared with makeup. In one hand, he held a hatchet. Frank lunged at him. Daniel fled. Police arrived quickly, but Daniel was gone. What they found during the investigation, however, was worse than anyone could have imagined. Behind a built-in cabinet in a seldom-used room, they discovered a hidden crawlspace. Inside it were food wrappers, blankets, and signs of someone living there for weeks. He had been spying on the family, emerging from the walls when no one was looking, writing threats on the walls, and moving things around the house just enough to drive them to the edge. Daniel LaPlante wasn't a ghost. He was worse. He was a human being who had been watching, waiting, and tormenting from the inside. Not just a prankster. Now, here's where things get even darker. After his arrest, Daniel was placed in juvenile detention, but he didn't stay there long. In 1987, shortly after being released, Daniel committed one of the most brutal crimes in Massachusetts history. He broke into the home of a woman named Priscilla Gustafson. She was a kind, soft-spoken nursery school teacher. She had 2 children. That day, none of them would survive. Daniel raped and murdered Priscilla, then drowned her children, one in a bathtub, the other in a sink. The brutality shocked the entire state. Daniel LaPlante was captured soon after and sentenced to multiple life sentences without parole. He would never walk free again. To this day, I think about what the Bowen family went through. The fear, the helplessness, the growing dread as they tried to convince themselves they weren't going crazy. Imagine trying to sleep at night, not knowing if someone is behind your wall, listening to your every word, watching you. It's not a ghost story, it's not folklore. It happened, and it could happen again. What makes this so terrifying? What makes this story so uniquely horrifying isn't just the physical danger, it's the violation. The idea that your home, your safe space, can be quietly invaded. That someone can watch you for days, weeks, even months without your knowledge. Ghosts, spirits, we can rationalize them. But a person in the walls, that's real. That's tangible. That's nightmare fuel. Today, Daniel LaPlante sits behind bars. Ironically, he's now the one trapped behind the walls. But the legacy of fear he left behind still echoes. And for the Bowen family, what should have been just another childhood memory became a lasting trauma. So, next time you hear a bump in the night, don't just think ghost. Because sometimes the real terror lives in your walls.